All right, y'all. So Donald Trump has appointed Scott Turner to be the HUD secretary. So the Department of Housing and Urban. And, Trump was getting a lot of backlash for not having any black people in his cabinet. And I remember, I forget if I was on stream. I forget, but I told the story already where I said I was sitting at the dinner table and I was watching CNN on live TV. And they were having a conversation about the fact that Trump hasn't picked any black people for the cabinet. And I thought it was a very interesting conversation. And I said, just hold on a second. I'm going to talk about it. So now let's talk about it. All right. I want to first react to this video from CNN. And then I also want to play a video from Scott Turner, who was nominated by Trump. But let's start with this CNN video. So apparently Al Sharpton was very critical at the fact that Trump did not pick any black people. Now, this was before Scott Turner was announced, right? Byron Donald had some very interesting things to say. I haven't even seen this video yet. So let's watch this clip and then let's have a conversation.
We should ask Donald Trump. You talked about black men would be with you. Where's a black man being nominated by you for your cabinet? Has anyone noticed there's no black that has been nominated on his cabinet? That needs to be raised.
Reverend Al Sharpton criticizing President-elect Donald Trump for not nominating an African-American member for any cabinet position, I should say, yet. There are some spots to fill. Now, to be clear, he has picked some diverse candidates to be part of his overall team and also in his cabinet. But again, as of now, there's yet to be a black American picked for a cabinet-level slot. Joining me now, one of Trump's top allies on the Hill, Republican Congressman Byron Donald of Florida. Congressman, you have been a very vocal and effective surrogate for Trump and for his campaign and, frankly, the Republican Party. What is your response to this criticism?
I think it's criticism where people are upset that they still lost this election. And so if you were going to ask Reverend Al or anybody else in the Democrat Party, they're still licking their wounds about the fact that this did not work out the way that they thought it was going to. That being said, Donald Trump's cabinet is about people who are going to implement his agenda. And he's not done, by the way. You have Susie Wiles, the first woman ever to serve as chief of staff. You have Marco Rubio, a Cuban American who's going to serve as Secretary of State, representing America across the globe when it comes to foreign policy. You have Tulsi Gabbard going to be at DNI. So many others that are coming, and there's still slots to be filled. So I think everybody needs to pump the brakes and just wait and see what happens.
Do you think Democrats are putting form over substance?
Absolutely. Look, even if you look at how the Democrats filled the Joe Biden cabinet, they wanted to have a piece of every identity, but did they get the job done? Did they actually serve the interest of the American people? Because here's what I know. Whether you black or Hispanic, if the border is unsecure, Alejandro Mayorkas, if the border is unsecure, does that help people in their everyday lives? No, it does not. And so what Donald Trump's election is about is bringing competency and reality back to D.C. in the White House, making sure that the job gets done on behalf of the American people, regardless of their race, regardless of their religion, regardless of their creed.
Do you think that the current cabinet picks reflect the most competent implementers of Trump's policy across the board?
100%.
Because you have no pause for any of the people who are being raised, including some who are more controversial figures who've gotten a lot of the oxygen out of the room. Obviously, Matt Gaetz, a centerpiece of criticism because of the allegations. But you don't have any pause about anyone who's been chosen?
No, I don't, because either I know them directly or I've gotten a chance to know them throughout the last several months. All of them subscribe to everything that Donald Trump talked about on the campaign trail. They are mission-minded about getting the job done. Look at Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wants to make America healthy again. He wants to go after additives in our food that are here in the United States, but not in any other country around the globe. You have suburban mothers who want to see that happen for their children. You have people who've had to deal with all kind of other health abnormalities, and at the time, and now what they're dealing with is going to other doctors, finding other alternatives to address those health issues, finding out it's what they're ingesting every single day. He's going to address that. You have somebody like
I think that's a very good point. The fact that he actually chose Kennedy to be in that position is wild. It's wild. I like it. I know there was speculation that he was gonna, put him in that position, but to actually see him do that is crazy. But I think it's really cool because, Kennedy is bringing up some concerns. He's asking questions. He's gonna dive deeper into things that a lot of people thought were conspiracy, but he's gonna unpack it and reveal it and expose it to actually show us that it's true. And this is what has been happening all along. And this is what we've been putting into our body all along. And I think he's going to help a lot of people in that position. Now, I think he does raise a very good point in terms of, number one, these are the individuals that Trump believes is going to help him accomplish the mission that he spoke about during the campaign. I think that we have been conditioned to analyze when it comes to race. And when you have a country that needs help in so many different areas, and when you have people that are coming together in order to attempt to fix things and get us back in a positive direction, it doesn't really matter what they look like. The only thing that matters is if they can do the job, if they can accomplish the job, right? And at this point in time, they haven't even gotten into office yet. They haven't even really started yet, or maybe they've just barely started the beginning stages, right? So I think everybody kind of needs to relax and not allow the media to enrage you so much and get you to continuously hyper focus on race. There's definitely situations where race is a concern. There's definitely a situation where we should be having conversations about, race and representation and, all those different topics. But I think from the media standpoint, they've pushed this narrative for so long that it actually ended up hurting our country because, unfortunately, there were some people that were put into positions that they just weren't ready for. They weren't qualified for. And it's like, bro, you can't even necessarily be mad at the people. You got to be mad. When I say the people, you can't be necessarily mad at the people who are put in that position. You got to be mad at the ones who put them in that position in the first place, knowing that they were unqualified, but you simply did it just to identify as being inclusive, as opposed to putting the person in that position who actually has the highest chance of success in that role. And I think that's how we should be thinking. But it's easy for us to revert back to making everything about race because that's where we live, bro. This is America. America makes everything about race.
Gabbard, who has not been a fan of forever wars, which, by the way, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you've not been.
And I was, when I first seen the cabinet, let me go back to it. When I first seen it, I definitely was like, bruh. My first thought was, hey, it's a little bright in here. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bright. But then I had to check myself. And I had to check myself to be like, you know what? It shouldn't matter as long as the job gets done and as long as we see improvements across the board, then that shouldn't matter. But my initial response was, it is a little bright. Now, I don't understand this, bruh. Dr. Oz, who the heck? I don't understand. Somebody explain that to me. I don't get that. Medicare and Medicaid, Dr. Oz, I don't get that. I really don't. I love this, Tulsi Gabbard. I think that's great. Especially in that position, I think that's great. Obviously, Kennedy, I think is great. I really don't even know too many of the other people to give any type of opinion. You know what I'm saying? Marco Rubio, question mark. Pete Hegseth, from the little bit that I've seen of the interviews that he did, I think is great. And I think that he's the type of dude that you need in that position. Like, you need a dude like that in that position. I mean, this is the military. This is defense that we're talking about. People want to get all offended because he said that women shouldn't be in combat. Bro, we need somebody like that in that position. Besides that, I don't really know too many of the other people. Let's continue. Where were we? I think we're like right here.
Or a Democrat, you've not been a fan of forever wars. She's going to be advising him when it comes to national intelligence. These are the picks that he's put in who are going to actually help him implement his agenda. His success as president, this is the 47th president, is going to be on addressing all the concerns of the American people that obviously they had, because if they didn't have that, he wouldn't have the political mandate he's enjoying right now.
Well, let me ask you, because I remember when your name came up as a potential speaker of the House. Right. There were many who speculated that based on the prominent...
That would have been dope. They should have did that. Who was it? It's Rubio, ain't it? No, he's Secretary of State. Oh, the speaker is, I forget her name. I'm sorry. But that would have been dope if Trump would have put if Trump would have put Byron as speaker.
role you played in this campaign and election, that your name would have skyrocketed to at least the front of the line. We are several cabinet picks in. Are you not surprised that you have not been named? Have you had a conversation about being a part of the administration at all?
All I will say is I am not surprised that I have not been named, but that does not mean I'm not going to do other things in the future.
Has he asked you?
No, there's some other things that I'm looking at going forward. I'm
Like?
not going to talk about them now.
We do this every time.
We're not going to break news now.
I would like to
Laura.
ask you, Governor
We're not gonna break
of
news.
Florida, Senator, perhaps if Marco Rubio is confirmed, or any of those spots enticing to you?
We'll see what happens as things go forward.
Do you have support for the name Laura Trump that's been circling around as a potential person who would step in if Senator Marco Rubio were to ascend to the role that he has been chosen for?
So actually, I think Laura would do a great job as a U.S. Senator for Florida. I got a chance to really know her through the whole campaign process. Number one, excellent communicator, one of the best in our party. Number two, really knowledgeable about policy. Number three, her personal businesses that she's been involved in, different projects that she's done. She knows how to get things done, bring people around her to be successful. At the end of the day, you want to be a representative of the ideals of the state of Florida. Laura Trump is an example of that.
So just to be clear, and I remember the barbershops you had gone through, you talked to many black voters, black male voters specifically on the campaign trail. If the current trend stands and there is not a single black cabinet member named, you'd be fine with that?
What I want right now is for the agencies of the federal government to do their job and no more, and to actually fix the ills that have been going wrong in our country. The voters spoke loud and clear 2 weeks ago. This was an avalanche. This was a political mandate for Donald Trump. And it's very clear that they want our border secured. They want a thriving economy. They want to be able to get out of these.
I think Byron gonna run for president one day. That's what I think. That's what I think. I think he could win too. I definitely think he could win too. But that's a good point. It's like, okay, even if there was no black people in the cabinet, would I be okay with that? Honestly, just like he said, like, I want the country to be healthy. I want the country to be better. I want the country to get back on track. So I'm okay if there's no black people in the cabinet, if we're going in that direction. I mean, why would I have a problem with it? Because everyone's benefiting. Everyone's flourishing. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same conversation we had, yesterday in terms of the report that came out that said that Trump was going to ban all trans people from the military. And I said, well, how did they? And I said, were the requirements lessened in order to put those people in that position in the first place? And it appears that they were potentially lessened to put those individuals in that position in the first place. So why are we softening the requirements in order to be more inclusive? How come we're not focusing on doing the job to the fullest for the benefit of the people? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would be okay with that. Assuming that we're going in the right direction, then we're all going to benefit from it. But I definitely think he's going to run for president one day.
Conflicts across the globe. And yes, people want to be energy dominant here in America. And if the cabinet picks help deliver the America First agenda that Donald Trump wants, this will be an unmitigated success. And every American will be happy with that.
I wonder if voters will see it the same way. I want to talk about this House Ethics Committee, though. They have not chosen to release the report that was compiled by them.
Okay. I want to go to a different video from Scott Turner. Let's go here.
Team. I've been able to play on a lot of teams, San Diego, Washington, Denver. But this is the greatest team because we have the opportunity to make a generational impact. Us together. See, revitalization doesn't have a color. It doesn't have a party. Revitalization starts in the heart of every man. And I say that because if we focus on the true mission and the people, the grandmothers, the grandfathers, the next generation coming after us, the kids that are truant, now they're working, the single mothers who now have a job to restore dignity and hope in their family and in the community. That's why I'm here. And I believe that's why you're here. So, Mr. President, thank you. I'm ready. This team, I've been.
That was dope. That was dope. That was dope. Hey. Let's just get the job done, man. Let's get back on track. Let's let's put God first. Let's not forget, Trump. You said yourself that God saved you, right? So that you could restore America. Let's keep God first. Let's stick to the mission. And let's see what we can do. Obviously, look, just keep it real. We're cooked. We're cooked. We're cooked until Jesus comes back anyway, right? I get it, I understand it. But in the meantime, what can we do in order to bring people out of the life of lies and bring them to the light? How can we bring people out of darkness into the light, right? Interesting conversation. Let me know what you think. Get in my comments, like this video. I'm out, y'all.